A gear mechanism relies on every connection to maintain rhythm. When the central node slips out of alignment, the entire surrounding structure locks up. This chart shows the alignment triangle, a blueprint for instructional design, mapping how three primary components link together. The perimeter is defined by three foundations: learning outcomes, teaching activities, and assessment. These dictate what is taught and how it's measured. But the center node, feedback, is the engine that connects those three pillars. It is the mechanism that allows teaching to adjust based on assessment data to reach the intended outcome. In many classrooms, this node is treated as a passive, reactionary grade. When feedback doesn't act as a calibrated intervention, the alignment between teaching and learning breaks down. To optimize learner outcomes, educators have to deconstruct feedback into a precise mechanical taxonomy. This requires mastering three pillars: identifying the purpose of the critique, applying mechanical filters to its delivery, and targeting the correct cognitive level. When educational feedback is treated as a structural intervention rather than a soft skill, learner progress becomes predictable rather than accidental. Before generating a single word of critique, an educator must identify the specific functional vector that the intervention is meant to achieve. This purpose wheel acts as a diagnostic tool to map those vectors, breaking the utility of feedback into three distinct sectors. The first sector, supports learners, focuses on the student's educational experience. It is designed to establish psychological safety and build learner confidence. The second sector, improves performance, is the mechanism for objective error correction. It provides clear steps to identify strengths and address weaknesses in the work. The final sector is accountable and developmental, anchors the learner's progress against predetermined outcomes, explaining exactly how a specific grade or milestone was reached. If an intervention does not deliberately target at least one of these three functions, supporting, improving, or accounting, it serves no operational role for the learner. Strategic purpose is the difference between meaningful guidance and pedagogical noise. Identifying a purpose is only the first step. The critique itself must also be mechanically sound. Raw critique is translated into usable data by passing it through the SAT filter system: specific, actionable, and timely. The specific gate requires the feedback to target precise aspects of a task, avoiding vague statements that leave the learner guessing. Instead of a generic needs work, specific feedback identifies that a learner's transition paragraph lacks a clear connection to the preceding evidence. The actionable gate ensures the feedback defines the exact operational steps required to correct the identified issue. Knowing a mistake exists is different from knowing how to fix it. Actionable feedback provides the learner with a clear mental or physical next step to resolve the error. The final gate, timely, addresses the active cognitive window. If feedback arrives after the memory of the performance has faded, the opportunity for immediate adjustment is lost. Without all three components, specific, actionable, and timely, the feedback remains inert information rather than a functional tool for improvement. Perfectly filtered feedback can still fail if it is aimed at the wrong cognitive depth for the learner's current bottleneck. Feedback interventions land on one of four tiers along a vertical hierarchy, ranging from baseline execution to metacognition. Task-level feedback is the foundation. It provides concrete error correction regarding the accuracy and completeness of the final output. Process-level feedback moves higher, targeting the strategies and techniques the learner used to reach their answer. While task-level feedback corrects a single mistake, process-level feedback builds durable problem-solving skills that apply to future challenges. Regulatory-level feedback addresses the metacognitive layer, focusing on how a learner monitors and adjusts their own learning habits. This tier allows the learner to transition from relying on an instructor's external corrections toward practicing autonomous self-regulation. At the top is self-level feedback, which is directed at the learner's identity and motivation. Because it carries a high emotional charge, self-level feedback can impact self-esteem, but it often lacks the operational mechanics required to improve a specific task. Effective intervention requires diagnosing whether the learner is failing the task, the process, or the ability to self-regulate, then aiming the feedback accordingly. When feedback operates in a vacuum, the entire instructional system stalls. Integrating this taxonomy back into the alignment triangle transforms the feedback node into a calibrated engine. This creates a repeatable diagnostic sequence. First, diagnose the specific bottleneck along the 4 cognitive levels. Second, process the intervention through the mechanical filters to ensure it is specific, actionable, and timely. Third, ensure the output fulfills the purpose wheel by supporting the learner or holding them accountable to the outcomes. This shift moves educators from passive grading to active instructional engineering. Success occurs when feedback is deployed as a mechanism for cognitive and behavioral alignment.